Welcome. The next topic that I want to get into is Microsoft's OneDrive. So OneDrive will eventually replace your P drive, your personal drive, and it's a place where you can actually store files, pictures, anything you want to inside of that drive, just like you would your P drive, but there's a huge benefit to this. Number one, you actually, when you save it to OneDrive, you have a local copy and you have a cloud copy. So you have it located in two different locations. So if you make a change, if you save a file, create a file in Word, let's say, and you save it to your OneDrive local account, Microsoft will automatically sync that into the cloud for you. There's an automatic sync that you can actually utilize. If you don't have internet access for any given reason, you still have access to all your files in your OneDrive folder, your local folder. Again, nothing you have to think about, nothing you have to worry about, but you can still open up the files, make editing changes. The next time you connect to the internet, then it will automatically sync up your folders. So you have access in both locations. And that's one thing that's wonderful about it. Another great feature is that if you have your iPhone, you can actually still connect to OneDrive online and still access the Word, Excel, PowerPoint files, and even do basic editing on your telephone or on your iPad, which is great. So it really, any computer, any device that has internet access, you now have access to all your files. So I'll show you how to go in, how to log in to the OneDrive account, show you how to navigate that part of it, and then talk about how the information syncs and how to share the information as well. So the first thing I want to do is get into OneDrive. So I'm going to go to the internet, and at this point, I go over to the MicrosoftOnline.com account. And then if you notice over here, I have a connection. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my J Rose. And then I plug in my username and my password. I click sign in. And then at that point, it's looking at all the information that I have locally in my OneDrive account, as well as here inside the cloud. So the information is automatically synced. So I'll give you a quick demo of this. So if you look over here on the left-hand side, you have your files, any recent files you've worked with, any files that people have shared with me, I can access those. Now if you look right here, these are my folders that I also have locally. So I have my family pictures, I have attachments, I have camera uploads, invoices, manuals. So keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and take this and I'm going to tile it over here on the left-hand side by dragging it over to the left. And then I'm going to click on this folder here to show you the local drive as well as the online drive. So if you look over here, this is just your standard, again, this is going to replace your P drive eventually. So OneDrive is going to be your own personal drive that's stored locally as well as online, like I mentioned. And if you look right here, here's my family pictures, here's my attachments, my invoices, my manuals, all the items that are over here as well on the left-hand side. So at any point, if I were to go create a Word document, then I'm going to want to save it back into one of these folders that are on my OneDrive account. And at that point, it will automatically sync over online, so I can have an updated copy at any point. So it's a wonderful tool, it saves a lot of time. Now, I'm going to go ahead and close this folder here, and I'm going to maximize the internet, and I want to talk about navigating here. So OneDrive actually is Microsoft SharePoint. It actually is a scaled down version of SharePoint. So you can also think of OneDrive as your own personal SharePoint account. And you have up to 1 terabyte. The people at PG&E, you have 1 terabyte of data space. So there's quite a bit of information you can store out there. Now if you look on the left-hand side, right up here in the upper left-hand corner are the little boxes. This is where you navigate the different applications that PG&E will have access to. So if I click on this, I don't have everything loaded now, but I have OneDrive, which is currently where I am. So if I click on OneDrive, that essentially is a list of all my folders. If I go back over to the little button, I can also access Word online. I can access PowerPoint and Excel, all the online versions, and that allows me to do any quick editing changes if I want to, just like regular SharePoint has now. It's the same exact option. Now you'll have Yammer and some other applications in there as well as email. Now, if I want to go in, let's say that I want to take one of these files from, let's say my manuals folder, and let's say that I want to take, let's say Tableau, and I want to take the outline or one of the guides that we have, and I want to share this with somebody. So what I can do, instead of giving them access to my entire drive, just like SharePoint, you can give one person access. It could be either read access or full edit access. So what I would do, as I hover over the options on the left-hand side, I can simply check the little box here, or I can even check multiple items if I want to give multiple items to someone. And then from here, I can come up to the top and I can click Share. So if I click on Share, then notice that the very first option says anyone with this link, because I'm going to send a link to somebody via email, it says anyone with this link can view and edit. But if I want to limit to what they can do, I can click here and I can say, you know what, I don't want to allow editing. So I can actually come down here and turn this off. Now it's going to be a view only. And then I can even set it up to where I have an expiration date. So I can say, you know what, I only want them to have access to this for 1 week. So I can actually choose the date that I want this to expire on. And then I can go in and send this to the folks that I want to send it to. So I'd first hit apply. So that'll apply those 2 changes that I made. And then I can come over here and enter an email address to whom I want to send this. So for example, if I want to send it to my Gmail account, just as an example. All right, so it pops up over here, and I can click on the email address, and then literally just hit send. And now at that point, I'm going to get an email in my inbox in Gmail with a little link, and as I click on the link, it will actually pull up the file for me. And I made it read-only, so I can't make any editing changes. But I can still download it if I want, and then view it on my own computer at my own time. So it's a nice little tool. And then at that point, like I mentioned, you can set it up to where it expires after a certain amount of time. Saves a lot of time. All right, so I'm going to close this little window here, because it tells me that it went and was sent out. Now, if you look over here on the right side, let's say that I went through and I sent this to 20 people a few days ago. I shared this, and I want to go back and modify what I shared. So I make sure that I check the little box here for the file that I'm working in, which is the Tableau, and I click on this little information button on the right-hand side, and then this gives me a list of who has what access. So it kind of shows me a little preview of it. Who has access down here, I can change permissions, and it shows me any recent activity that I've had with this as well. So it's a nice way to go in and manage what you've already shared. You can always adjust that. So that's one little option. Now another thing that we can play with is there's a copy link option up here on the top. So the copy link option is really nice too. So again, if I want to uncheck this and then check another one, let's say this one down here, the fundamentals class, and I want to copy a link. So what I do is I simply click on the copy link, and then right here, this is a link directly to this item. It's another way to share is really what it is. And I can copy it here, Control-C to copy it, and now I can go into Outlook and then paste that link and share that with anybody I want to using a regular email in Outlook. So it's just another way to share information. Personally, I just think it's easier just to go up here and hit share and then pick the people that you want to share it with. But entirely optional. Okay, then up here on the top, of course, you have your download, so you can take it from here, download it to your desktop if you want. And then you can also hit sync to make sure that it's syncing up. But that should happen automatically for you, and it should be synced automatically. Now, another thing I do want to show in regards to the sync option, I'm going to pull back the folders so you can see what I'm talking about. And there's going to be a little green checkbox, and here we go. All right, so this little green check right here, that lets you know that it's also online. So it's already synced up, ready to go. If you have, in place of that, you have like a little blue arrow, like 2 blue arrows chasing themselves, that'll let you know that it's in the process of syncing. So I just want to let you know that that little icon will let you know if it's synced or it's in the process of syncing. And that, in a nutshell, is OneDrive. Enjoy.